one loss. Orlovsky, you got Bucs at the Lions. It's an interesting game in the NFC. Who do you like?
I'm going to take Detroit because it's in Detroit. We saw this offensive line make a case to be the best in all of football. Jared Goff to Jamison Williams was a massive storyline. If they can continue to create those explosive plays, this team's going to go to the Super Bowl. The defense is good enough. I thought Tampa was amazing last week. Baker threw it great. Mike Evans and Chris looked like the Super Bowl receivers from a couple years ago. Their new offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen, was impressive. I just think Detroit at home, a little too much firepower.
And then,
yeah, so I totally agree with everything Orlovsky's saying. And first off, do you hear that? He's saying Super Bowl. He is double, triple, quadrupling down on that. This is his Super Bowl pick. If you are a Detroit Lions fan, when is the last time you heard someone in the media just casually be like, the Lions are going to the Super Bowl, book it? It's pretty wild, you know, how fast the Lions have really turned this whole thing around. Really exciting stuff. Yeah, this game, I was really excited for this game. I still am super excited for this game. I think the Lions need to win this game big. There should be a lot of injuries, unless it's changing, because it is obviously day by day. But it appears that the Buccaneers should have a few, like 2, 3, maybe even more, like very key people out. That I just think that if the Lions are the team that I think they are, and Orlovsky thinks they are, they should this should be a commanding win. This should be one of those games where it looks like they are just clearly in control the whole time. It doesn't necessarily have to be them winning by like 14, 21 points, whatever it may be, but you need to have the sense of, yeah, the Buccaneers were never really in this game. At least that's the way how I look at it. It doesn't have to be that way. I'm just saying, if you want to start to feel real good and confident behind the Detroit Lions, these are the types of games that you need to have a more commanding, no, you're not on our level. We have really taken the step forward. These games should not be that close. It's not to say that the Buccaneers aren't a good team, or that they don't have a good offense, or that Baker Mayfield isn't playing significantly better, even better than I had originally anticipated. It's just, one, the Lions, even if both teams were fully healthy, should be a better team than the Buccaneers. And two, with some key major injuries, then you need to be able to say, we can expose this. Any weakness, anything lacking, anything but your best is not good enough. Like, I think that's ultimately, at the end of the day, what the Lions need to demonstrate, is anything but your best is not good enough. And that's really ultimately what the Kansas City Chiefs have done for years. The only way you can beat the Chiefs is if you give your absolute best. Anything but the best. You miss a throw, you don't make us pay for missed coverage, whatever it may be, you're not going to win. You're just not going to win. You have to be perfect. And if you're not perfect, you're not going to win. That's really been the story for the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you have Super Bowl aspirations like the Detroit Lions are, to me, this is another good barometer game. There's a handful of those games this week that I think is like, we're going to find out. Because if this is a close game, right? If this comes out to be another close game like last week, it's not that I'm going to think less of the Lions or think, well, they can't get to the Super Bowl. It'll just definitely make me feel a little bit more uncomfortable, a little bit less confident, a little bit like, all right, they still have some things that they have to work out. Maybe they're still kind of playing into shape, getting into rhythm, whatever it may be. Of course, I'd have to see like why those things happened. But, they're obviously an incredibly tough team. I praise them for their win versus the Rams. But it was a close game, but that's a tough game for me to judge as well, as I talked about, because right, that offensive line was held together with like nothing, right? Literal scotch tape. But it was Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, right? Two unbelievable players and coaches, and that duo is unbelievable. So even with a bad offensive line and still having Cooper Kupp and being down Puka Nacua, they'll be able to find a way. They'll be able to find a way to still make it competitive, still make it tight. But it's still a difficult game to judge, because you can't help but say, what happens if they were at full strength? Again, I understand if you're a Lions fan, you wouldn't say, even if they were at full strength, doesn't matter. You can't necessarily say that. And I try to be as objective and, as nuanced as I possibly can. I'm not saying, oh, dude, the Rams would have definitely won that game. It's just that the Lions do have to play better. And again, I'm holding the Lions. If you're a Lions fan, like, don't get upset about that. It's like, I'm holding the Lions to a high standard. I think they have Super Bowl aspirations, so they need to play Super Bowl level football, right? I would say that about the Chiefs. I would say that about the Bills. I would say that at any top team that I think has a true chance at going all the way. You need to not only win ugly, not only to win maybe less than what you originally thought it was going to be, but then you also want to be able to win truly when you're supposed to and truly control that game. Because technically the Lions absolutely could have lost that game. It went into overtime, right? It could have been a coin flip, and they could have lost a coin flip, and the Rams could have marched down and won. It's obviously in the realm of possibility when you're in overtime. That really can't be argued. But like I pointed out in that game, they also showed some of those little things that ultimately lead to Super Bowls, right? Like Amon-Ra St. Brown falling, but still getting up and getting his fingertips on the ball to bat it down instead of being intercepted. Those are the little things that do ultimately lead to winning a Super Bowl, right? You need not only those big things, the big moments, the big wins, but also those very little things that, quite frankly, will be skipped over, right? Like barely anyone will probably talk about that 2-3 weeks from now. Honestly, people are probably not even talking about it now. Those little things definitely register in my head and stick with me, because I know when you look back on a team that wins a Super Bowl, you can always point to those types of plays. You can always point to those types of plays, the time that a fumble went your way. Like, it's always all this collection of random little things combined with some of the really big memorable moments. Like every single team that has ever won, you can always connect those dots. So to me, this game versus the Bucs, right, they're also at home, like it's on their turf. It is a rematch from the playoff game. You're obviously going to get the Buccaneers coming out there. Baker wants revenge, so he wants to spoil that moment as well. But I just think that the Lions, to me, as we kind of start to slowly progress throughout the season, you got to show us why so many people believe that you can not only get to the Super Bowl, but win the Super Bowl. That is the new standard. That is the new standard for the Lions. And to me, that's exciting. When people are saying some of the things that I'm saying, that means you are being held to a high standard, right? And it's just, it's exciting. It really is. And so I believe that they will achieve that, and they will prove that to be correct. But of course, any given Sunday. So we just got to wait and see, but this is definitely one of the top games. There's a handful. Honestly, this week I feel like there's so many good games that I really cannot wait to watch, and this most definitely is one of them. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think that the Lions need to kind of start to impose their will and prove, to start to have kind of more commanding, more dominant wins, especially against these teams that are supposed to be below them and also not 100% healthy? Or do you think just a win is a win at this point in the season? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.